Dear students, I have come with a new module, random sampling methods. Sampling methods we are dividing into two. One is random sampling methods and non-random sampling methods. These two methods are widely used in research and non-research activities for data collection. So now we have to know that what is the difference between random sampling method and non-random sampling method. See, in random sampling method, we will adopt a procedure in which all units of the population will have an equal chance of being selected in the population or in the sampling. That meaning, this we are calling either using the name representative sampling or probability sampling. So these are the other two names used. See, for example, if you want to conduct a study about the students' behavior, class attendance, how they behave to the class attendance. So what we want to see that every student will have an equal opportunity. We are not selecting the 10 best students from the class and we want to see that their attentiveness in the class about that subject. That will not be a random sampling. Whereas if 100 students are there in the class, we are taking the 100 students and any 10 students we are selecting. There will be merit students and there will be students who are scoring less marks. So this is the random sampling method. Whereas non-random sampling method, this is based on the personal judgment of the investigator. See, if I want to take a feedback about my class, so I will select 10 students who are close to me. So they will give a good feedback about my class. So that is non-random sampling. This is not an accepted method because here I am using my personal judgment, my association with the student. On that basis, I am selecting the students in the study. So that will be a non-random sampling. Now random sampling methods we are dividing into 4 and each method with the merits and demerits we are going to explain. So the first method is simple random sampling, second is stratified random sampling, third is systematic random sampling and fourth is multistage sampling. So we will see these methods one by one. First is simple random sampling. So this is the most common method and there are two methods used for identifying the units in this method. One is lottery method and second one is table of random numbers. Lottery method, you know that if our population is 1000 students in a university, so you can identify the students because here one important thing is that we have to identify the population. Then only we can use these two methods of simple random sampling. So we have the details of the 1000 students and we know them by the register numbers. So that we will take and if our sample is 100 students from the 1000 students. So what we will do, we will make identical chits. We will write their register numbers and we will call some person and we will ask them to take this, draw this chits from the 1000. So that means we will get 100 students. We are not using any personal bias. Any 1000 student can become a unit for the study or a sample for the study. So that is the lottery method. And second one is use of table of random numbers. See, table of random numbers is just like log table. You have seen the log table. 4-digit values will be there. See, if you use the same example, 1000 students in the university and we want to take 100 students from the class. So you have seen the log numbers. So 4-digit numbers are there. 5 each in a set it's there. So what we will do, 1000 is your population. So 1000 minus 1, that meaning you will get 999. So that is 3-digit values. So you take one set of value and you take the last 3 digits of that. See, for example, if you are getting 444, so the register number ending with 444 will be there in the list or in the sample. Next, if you are getting 256, that will be there. Like that, you will select the 100 students. So that will form the sample for the study. So that is the method of table of random numbers. So table of random numbers prepared by 8 is available and we will get that. So that table we are using for using the simple random method. And merits of this method, if you will see, so you have to see that scientific method. This is a scientific method. Personal bias will not come in the selection and personal bias is not completely avoided. And second point you have to remember, as the population increases, the sample will become more increasingly representative of the population. See, instead of 1000 in our example, if you are taking 10,000 students and you are drawing a sample of 1000, it will be a more representative sample. but the demerit is complete list of the population is needed. See, for example, in the case of students in a university, it is possible to get a list. But if number of households in Bangalore city, if you want to get, there is no list available. You have to make a list. So the method will become difficult. Second point is, if the sample is small and if there is general great variability in the universe, sample may not be a representative sample. So if you want to make a study about the food habits of Bangaloreans, it is very difficult because different people have different food habits. So there is great variability in the population. Even if the list is available, this method will not be suitable there. Second method, systematic random sampling. So this is more systematic. That is why the term systematic is used in the title also. So this method can be used if the complete list of the population is available. So this is a systematic method with the complete list of the population. We are going ahead with that. So this method is to select kth item from the list. Now k refers to the sampling interval. See, for example, the population is 1000 and the required sample is 200. 1000 babies born in Bangalore for the last month. So that meaning 200 babies you are going to select. So your sample interval will be 1000 divided by 200, that is 5. So the first item between 1 and 5 you are selecting using simple random method. Simple random method, we have already explained lottery method and table of random numbers. So you will select one item. See, if you are using lottery method, you make 5 identical chits. You will ask somebody to draw one chit from that. Imagine you are getting 3. Then 3 will be your first sample. Then you continue to add 5 because 5 is your class interval. So then first will be 3, then 8, then 13. These are the samples. Now if you see the merits and demerits, merits it's more convenient. Second one is time and work involved is less. As the name indicates, you can do a systematic study. Then results are satisfactory. You are doing the proper method, proper probability sampling you are using. Whereas demerits are also there. If the population is arranged in a systematic manner with respect to characteristic the investigator is interested in, then the sample may not be a random sample. See, for example, if I am conducting a survey about the wage structure of a organization, I want to prove that they are not giving the proper wage. Their workers are not happy with the wage structure. So I am including only those workers whose wages are very less. In an organization, there will be people who are getting middle income or they are getting high income. All these categories will be there. But I want to prove that here wage structure is very less and it's not satisfactory. So that I want to prove that, and I am including only workers in the population who are drawing very less salary. So this is the demerit. Now, third method is stratified random sampling. So in the stratified random sampling, we have to remember that heterogeneous population, wide variety will be there in the population. See, for example, if you want to conduct a study about the food pattern or the food habits of Bangaloreans or Delhi, people living in Delhi, any place. So it will be heterogeneous population. They will not be following the uniform pattern. So this population we have to divide into strata or the type. Strata means it's a group. So we can divide it into different zones. It will be a strata. Or if you can divide it into different types, vegetarians, non-vegetarians, those who eat egg, those who are from Jain community. Like this, you can divide it into different types. So strata meaning it's a group. So these samples are then combined to form a single sample. Now you have to remember that stratified sampling, we are dividing into two methods. One is proportional sampling. Second one is disproportional sampling. Proportional sampling, see if I am taking that example, food habits of Delhi, people living in Delhi I want to study. So I have to divide the Delhi into 4 zones I am dividing. That meaning based on the population A, B, C, D. So from each sample or each strata, I want to collect the required number of samples. That meaning, see, imagine if the population structure is like that. A is having 40% of the population. B is having 30%, C 20% and D 10%. So if I am using proportional sampling, I want the population to be represented in the study. So what I will do, we will have A 400, B 300, C 200 and D 100 respondents. So the population is also represented, my strata or the type is also represented in the study. The second method, if you see the disproportional sampling method. So in this method, I will not give any weightage for the population. what I will do is equal number of samples will be taken from each strata or type. That meaning regardless of the population in the zones A, B, C and D, what I will do, I will take equal number. So 250 from A, 250 from B, 250 from C and 250 from D as the respondents. But this method, you have to remember that this is not an accepted method. It's inferior to the previous method, proportional sampling method. We are giving equal weightage for the population also. So that is another point you have to remember. Now the merits and demerits, if you see, merits is, this is giving a more representative sample. See, I told you proportional stratified sampling, you are giving weightage for the population and you are giving for the food habits, that is type also, whatever vegetarians, non-vegetarians, all this you are dividing it into different. So weightage is given at different levels. Then second point you have to remember, ensures greater accuracy. This method is better compared to other methods because heterogeneous population, if you want to conduct a survey, this is the best method. Third point, gives greater geographical concentration. Any geographical concentration. See, in the method I have explained, we are giving population for A, B, C, D zones. So that population is also getting an extra weightage. Whereas demerits, if you see, each strata must contain homogeneous items, otherwise the results may not be reliable. See, from the vegetarian category, they should be following the same pattern. See, some vegetarians, they eat egg. So that if this type of people, 2-3 people, some people will eat fish, then that will not be vegetarian category. So whatever the category you are defining, if you are defining, you have to clearly state that this will be the strata. And you have to see that those people are included in such strata, and from there you are drawing the sample. Then it will be otherwise it will be a limitation for the study. Then you have to remember the second limitation is samples from each strata should be selected at random, otherwise the results are not reliable, because now we are talking about random sampling methods. So you have to use any random sampling methods for selecting the respondents. That's very important. We have learned lottery method is there, table of random numbers is there. Now we are coming to the fourth method. This is the last method, multi-stage or cluster sampling. So in this method, selection is done at different stages. See, when I was doing a PhD about saving habits of households in Kerala, I used this method of data collection or sample selection. So this name is itself is multi-stage sampling. So different levels we are making the sampling procedure. So here example, I told you my study was about Kerala state. So what I have done that, how many districts are there in Kerala? So the districts, all the districts I will select. Then from the districts, if I'll select 5 districts, I've selected 5 districts for my study. So from the selected districts, 5 corporations I have selected. From the 5 corporations, how many villages are needed? That I selected. From the villages, how many panchayats are needed? I have selected. So the advantage is that though we are doing a state level survey, when it's coming to the district, it's coming to only 5 districts. So instead of 14 districts in the state, I have to concentrate on 5 districts. From the district itself, which all are getting selected as corporations, then only I have to do the detailed study. So from corporations, again it's narrowing down to the selected villages. From the villages, it's narrowing down to the panchayats. So this is a different and convenient method, multi-stage sampling. Different levels you can reduce the method of or the scope of inquiry. So the merits, if you see, it enables the existing divisions or subdivisions of the population as units. You know that for public administration, the state is divided into districts, corporations, municipalities, panchayats, villages. So this existing division we can use for our study. So that is an accepted method. The second point you have to remember, subdivision into second stage unit need to be carried out only for those selected in the first stage. See, I told you from state, Kerala state, which all districts selected. Then I can narrow down my search. I don't have to go, I can exclude completely which all districts I have avoided. So this is an important thing. So you can reduce the search for the final selection of units. Now, third point you have to remember, useful in underdeveloped areas where the frame is not available. See, already I have mentioned that what is a frame. A frame meaning where you are going to conduct a survey. Maybe it's a geographical area. Then that means the map will be the frame. If you are conducting a population, you are preparing a list of population. That will be a frame. See, some cases in a Kerala state, if I want to conduct all the survey about all the households in the state, it's not possible to make a list. So when I am narrowing down my search, my work is easier. because corporation, district. So like that I'm narrowing down. Where the frame, it's very difficult to make a frame in such a case. Now the limitation, you have to remember that less accurate than a sample containing the same number of final stage units. See, what we have seen is lottery method and table of random numbers. The same population will be there. If you are drawing one chit from that lot, again you are replacing that. So again everybody is getting an equal chance of being included in the sample. Whereas in this method, the limitation is that you are narrowing down at each stage. So that means what you are excluded will never be the sample. So this is another limitation of this method. So this is what I want to complete with this module, and happy learning with Dr. Alice Mani. Thank you.